Hello, and welcome to Curious Minds, the show where we turn everyday puzzles into fun learning journeys. Today, we're diving into a question we've all wondered about. Why do we forget things?
Thanks for having me. Forgetting is such a universal experience. Whether it's misplacing your keys or blanking on a new friend's name, it can be both baffling and frustrating.
Exactly. We'll explore what's actually happening in the brain when we forget and maybe even find ways to remember better. Let's begin by understanding how memory works in the first place. So, guest, can you walk us through how our brains actually form memories? I've heard it's kind of like taking mental snapshots, but there's got to be more to it.
You're right. When we experience something, our brain's neurons communicate using electrical and chemical signals. If the experience is strong like a joyful event or repeated, those neural pathways become reinforced, much like making a well-trodden trail in a forest.
So, the more often we walk that neural trail, the easier it is to find our way back to that memory later.
Exactly. And just like your phone's camera roll, your brain can't store everything. It has to filter out what's important, often based on emotion or repetition, and let the rest fade away.
That filter idea is fascinating. So, how does the brain decide what gets saved and what's discarded?
It's a bit like curating a photo album. Your brain prioritizes memories tied to strong emotions, novelty, or importance. Everyday, forgettable details like every step you took don't usually make the cut unless something unusual happens.
That makes sense. And if something is boring or routine, it probably won't stand out among all the input our brains receive daily.
Absolutely. Our brains are efficiency machines. They want to keep us focused, so they let go of the less relevant stuff.
Let's dig into the reasons why we forget. First up, inattention. Why does not paying attention make such a big difference?
Attention acts as the save button for memories. If you're distracted during a conversation, maybe you're checking your phone. You're not encoding that information deeply, so it never really becomes a memory in the first place.
So, if I forget a name right after meeting someone, it's probably because I was thinking about something else, not because my memory is failing.
Exactly. Studies show that divided attention can reduce memory retention by up to 50%. It's not a memory problem, it's an attention problem.
Let's move to the next reason, not using memories. Why do memories fade if we don't revisit them?
Think of your brain like a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it weakens. Memories that aren't reactivated like high school math formulas tend to fade as the neural connections weaken.
So, repetition really is key. That's why language learners practice vocabulary daily, for example.
Exactly. Neuroscientists call this retrieval practice. Regularly recalling information helps strengthen those neural pathways, making memories stickier over time.
Another big reason for forgetting is interference. What's happening in our brains when new memories seem to crowd out the old ones?
This is called interference. Imagine trying to remember your old phone number after you've learned a new one. Sometimes the new information overwrites or mixes up older details. It's a bit like updating a file and losing the previous version.
So, learning too much at once can actually make us forget things we thought we knew?
Precisely. It's common in fast-paced environments, like cramming before exams. Recent studies show that students who space out their learning retain more than those who cram, thanks to reduced interference.
Now, here's a twist. Sometimes, forgetting is actually helpful. Can you explain how the brain's cleanup process works?
Certainly. Our brains are constantly pruning unused connections a process called synaptic pruning. This makes room for new learning and keeps the brain agile. It's like deleting old files on your computer to free up space for new ones.
So, forgetting isn't just a flaw, but a feature that helps us focus on what matters most?
Exactly. Without forgetting, we'd be overwhelmed by trivial details. Sometimes, letting go of unnecessary info boosts problem solving and creativity.
That brings us to the benefits of forgetting. How does it actually help us in daily life?
Forgetting helps us zero in on what's important, make choices faster, and even heal emotionally. For example, erasing painful memories can reduce stress and help people move on from trauma phenomenon studied in therapy and neuroscience alike.
That makes sense. If we remembered every minor mistake, we'd probably be stuck in the past instead of moving forward.
Absolutely. Some researchers argue that forgetting is essential for mental health as it keeps us mentally flexible and adaptive.
Let's switch gears and talk solutions. What are some proven ways to help our brains remember better?
There are several. Repetition is powerful. Reviewing information at intervals helps cement it. Writing things down also boosts retention because it engages multiple senses and signals to your brain that this info is important.
I've also heard saying things out loud can help. Is that true?
Yes, speaking activates auditory pathways, creating additional memory traces. And making information emotional or fun-like, adding a joke can make memories more vivid and long-lasting.
To wrap up, let's think about how we can apply these memory strategies in real life. What's your best advice for listeners who want to remember more and forget less?
Be intentional with your attention. Focus fully on what you want to remember. Use repetition, write notes, and try teaching what you've learned to someone else. And don't stress about the occasional slippets, just your brain making room for what's next.
That's reassuring. So, next time you forget why you walked into a room, remember, your brain's just tidying up. Thanks for joining us today and for making memory science easy to understand.
Thank you. Stay curious and keep challenging your mind. You'll be surprised by how much you can remember when you work with your brain, not against it.